Stop Wearing My Clothes podcast. I'm Amy.
And I'm Kayla.
One
podcast, two
sisters.
sisters. This is episode number 18, and we've got special guest Imani Butler on. She is actually CEO of the Rayon Collective,
which is a gender-neutral wellness brand who specializes in tarot reading and
astrology.
Oh, astrology.
All things. So she does really cool stuff. She goes to all these different markets, and she goes and does birth chart readings, and she has crystal. She does the coolest things. I actually met her in at FITM, and we've been friends ever since. My friend Alana, who was on the podcast not too long ago, the one who we tried to get on The Bachelor, haven't heard back. BT dubs, but is Imani's friend too. So yeah, we all met in FITM, and we're really excited. And I've got a question for you, Amy, before you start.
All right, let's hear it.
When was the last time you checked your horoscope?
Never, because I used to do it all the time on those Tiger Beat
Me too.
magazines. I used to obsess over them, but I haven't in a long time because I don't really get magazines as much anymore.
Yeah, same here. So every once in a while, people are really into there's apps that you put in your exact birthday, almost kind of similar to what Imani did, and it gives you daily stuff. Oh. But instead of I'm a Pisces, and then what are you, Amy?
Gemini.
But the really cool thing with Imani is there's so much more to that. That's just one of your signs. You know, and if your exact birth date which is what we had, is the exact time and location, she was able to see all of our different signs and kind of a very
big three. That's what she called it.
Oh, the big three. Okay, I missed that. Kind of This Is Us.
This Is
Didn't
Us.
they call each other the big three?
Yeah.
Watch it if you haven't watched it. So it was super cool. You'll see our faces. We are shocked. She was so spot on. And we're really excited about it.
Yeah, and it definitely makes me want to schedule an appointment or whatever you would call it with her to do more.
Yes.
Kind of I don't know. It kind of shows you your strengths and weaknesses and just who you are and why you're that way kind of in some ways. It's really cool.
And
I'm excited for you guys to hear it.
Me too. I already think I'm going to plan my next session with her. And I'll have to pay for it now because it's not on the podcast. But yeah, it's legit worth it, guys. So if you go and follow her, Imani Ray or Rayon Collective, she has a bunch of different things she specializes in. But you can also you could do a tarot reading or a birth chart reading specific to if you're not really knowing what you want to do in your career. She specializes it to that. And this episode we do it relationships because relationship podcast, but you can really do it love life. You can really specialize it, and she really hones in on your birth chart reading
to give you guidance.
Exactly. Yeah. It's super cool, and I think she's so talented.
Yeah, and I think it's also cool because we just literally were clueless. Me and you don't know anything. Well, we do now a little more, but we didn't know anything. So it was cool. And also, what was cool about it is while we were doing that, and still we are in Mercury retrograde.
We learned all about it. Imani taught us. We talk about it a little bit, but it's kind of insane. First thing that happened before we even knew what Mercury retrograde was is we've never all of our podcast guests, what we've had 4. We've never had any technical issues. So I don't know if you guys do you want to do the definition of Mercury retrograde?
Okay, well, it says Mercury is the planet that majorly rules communication in astrology.
Yeah, so communication and technology is kind of Mercury retrograde, and it affects it, and it kind of wonks it all up. And it took us a half hour for us to connect with Imani on our podcast platform. And right there,
and it was just weird stuff too. It wasn't normal, it was weird.
Totally. And it's still been happening ever since we recorded it. Right now, we're recording this on the 14th. And oh my God, Amy, this podcast episode comes out the last day of Mercury retrograde on the 18th.
Ooh, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. So I'm legit not making any big decisions or doing anything until after the 18th because I'm convinced that Mercury retrograde's fucking me all up.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like it's messing up my life a little bit.
Want to know what else happened during this period of time in Mercury retrograde? I think literally just a couple days after we recorded with Imani, Facebook and Instagram, kapooey. They were out for like 6 hours. And like, I don't remember that ever happening, but apparently it's happened in shorter periods of time. In the last like, there's been like 3 major outages for Facebook, Instagram. Mm-hmm. Guess when all 3 happened during Mercury retrograde. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, and even before we were doing the podcast and I didn't even realize we were in retrograde, Jared and I felt super disconnected and our communication was like sucking. And I'm like, what the crap? We've been doing so good. Why are we like not figuring each other out? This sucks. And then Imani says like, it affects communication. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. That's why. Now I got something to blame it on.
No, I really feel like ever since, I don't know exactly if it's a year. I don't think it's a specific yearly thing she said, but it just happens every once in a while.
It happens multiple times throughout the year, actually.
Throughout the year. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm going to start paying attention. Mm-hmm. So I don't make any rash decisions in that time frame.
Yeah. Okay. Something kind of cool that I was just looking at is, so it kind of tells you for this random website, don't know what it is, sorry. But it says like, so I'm a Gemini and it says this transit, so this specific Mercury retrograde says, will demand you to focus on self-love and care. You may attract the spotlight in this retrograde, but may lose self-respect if not focused on self-love. The relations you attract, the attention you receive may get affected if you don't focus on yourself first.
Are you getting a big head from this podcast, Amy? Do I need to take you down a few notches?
No, but I feel like I've been in a freaking funk and feeling all down, but I've been giving myself some self-care, and without even knowing it, I've been doing the right thing. So you want to hear yours?
Sure.
Are you scared?
I don't know. Imani, like, I'm already just still reeling over I'm so excited for you guys to listen to it. Sorry. Go
Pisces?
Yeah, I'm Pisces.
Okay. If you happen to get in touch with people from your past with a friendly gesture, then it's okay. But the old urge of getting emotional support from someone you loved in the past may give you a nice lesson. Watch out for emotional needs. Self-control and self-nurturing are very important in this phase. If you repeat any mistake from your past, thinking that things might have changed or improved, then you will regret it by the end of this transit. Be mindful and meditate daily.
That's funny.
Okay, so another creepy thing that happened is our TV, like we've had a little bit of issues with it, but it randomly turns on. And it's done that a whole bunch this week. Technology.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with technology, but it made me think of it. Quigley, have you been following her stories the past couple days? Officially, Quigley on Instagram. She's a blog. We've talked about her before.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure what you're referencing. What are the ones you say?
Yeah, she has a kid Amy's age, so about a year.
Yes, the key story.
They are living with a ghost. So tell them what happened.
Okay, so they were getting ready to go to an event and they go to leave and their keys are gone. They cannot find their keys anywhere. And Max, their son, was playing with their keys, so they're just like, okay, probably just hid them somewhere. So they were looking everywhere. And as they were looking, they found a closet that they get in regularly, locked. And they have never locked that closet. It's never been locked before. It's the only door in the house that has a lock on the outside. And
they've lived there for like 6 years.
Yeah. And so her husband had a shoebox out there while he was playing with the keys. So they were like, the only place we could think it is in that closet because you just put those keys away. And so they ended up having to call a locksmith to come open their closet, and the freaking keys were in the shoebox.
Inside of the closet. Who would have done that? A baby, he like just took his first steps. Like he doesn't know how to lock things. So he would have had to lock it inside, from the inside. So the baby would have been in there, but he wasn't. It was a ghost. And did you see the updates at what happened this morning?
No, I didn't. I haven't been on Instagram today.
Max apparently sleeps on a mattress kind of next to their bed and kind of just fell asleep on there or something. They didn't put a blanket on him or anything. He just fell asleep. They woke up with a blanket on them. Neither parent did it. And it's right next
Oh,
to that door too. I would move.
do you have anything creepy that's happened at the house that you're at now?
No, I'm pretty sure we're ghost free.
Okay, well, I'm slightly concerned. I
Like
can't
a
remember.
75-year-old house too. Sorry, but
It's okay. There's been a couple of things that happened, but the creepiest thing is Jared and I turn out all the lights before we go to bed every single night. And so we get in bed, all the lights are off because you can tell, like, through the cracks of the door if the lights are on. So we go to sleep. I wake up probably like an hour afterwards. The light is on in the hallway and in our living room.
oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. Still don't know to this day.
Oh my goodness.
It hasn't happened again, but like 100% the lights were off.
Weird.
Because I'm weird about, like, it has to be dark, so I would know. And it woke me up almost.
How often do you go in your basement?
I don't know, at least once a month.
Okay, so no one could be living there. You've never seen like a jug of milk?
No, but we do have this weird crawl space that someone definitely could get in from outside.
Oh, I haven't told this story about a homeless person living in my backyard.
Yeah, and then I had to stay there alone, and you didn't even know, and they probably watched me get naked.
He totally lived in the treehouse in our backyard while Amy lived there by herself while we were on vacation. No, like literally.
And my window was like literally to the back of the house. No, and I didn't always close them.
It's actually really scary how it could have been months. Because it was during the winter months where we didn't really go in the backyard. So backing up, we had rented a house in Bellingham with a backyard. First time we ever had a house or had a backyard. And we enjoyed the summer. We were out there all the time. But, winter in Bellingham, Washington gets cold. So we weren't there for a month. And then all of a sudden, we have a tree house in there. It was just there when we rented it. All of a sudden, there were like blankets covering the windows of the tree house. And so I didn't go up there, and I was not going to let Marcus go up there. So he called the landlords. He went up there, and there was a jug of milk. And like, it was obvious, like a backpack, drug paraphernalia, like people, like a person or maybe persons was living in our treehouse in the backyard.
Still terrifies me.
Yeah,
I'm alive.
I would be alone, home alone a lot too. So yeah, That's one creepy. We've gone through this whole intro without saying this is our Halloween episode, but this is our Halloween episode, and that's why it'd be fun to we wanted to get an astrologer on and just something a little fun and different. And if this is the one to watch on YouTube. Let's just say that.
Do you remember that one time that there was like a light at one of your houses or something, and were we talking about Grandpa, or who are we talking about? And then the light started flashing.
That just happened recently, right?
Yeah, right. I think it was my bachelorette party, but like we were at your house, and we were like talking about we were talking about someone that had died. I think it was Grandpa, and the light started flashing, and they were like, "Don't do that. That's scary." And then it turned back on the last time.
I vaguely remember it, but me and Marcus have a plan. Whoever dies first, because we don't even know if there is afterlife. We're not sure. It's like really all up in the air. So we're going to tell each other. So if there's an afterlife and he has the ability to contact me in any way, he's going to break a lamp near me very soon after he dies. And that's when I'll know for sure. I'm going to crack the code.
Yep.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'll write a book afterwards. It's going to be called The Lamp Broke.
Okay, if you are looking for any suspenseful stuff to watch for Halloween, well, I guess this isn't scary, but if you're like, I like a little heart race, but not like then Guilty on Netflix. It's really good. It's about like a 911 operator. You should watch it.
Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal, right? I don't mess with him.
Oh. And my grandma, I haven't watched it. I tried to start it. I'm not
You
quite
haven't even
sure
watched
yet,
something that you're telling people to watch?
Yeah, but Grandma watched it and she said, you gotta watch it.
Oh, okay.
Intruder on Netflix. I'm not sure about it. I just started it. It's a little slow of a start, but it's Actually, no. It was a slow start, but then something creepy happened and I told Jared to turn it off.
Intruder, that's like too real. I'm really excited. There's one coming out on Netflix. I think Megan Fox did like a Netflix deal. So she has one that's already out, but she's going to play a vampire on like a Netflix movie. And I don't know if you know it's a current obsession with Megan Fox. I'm obsessed with her.
I didn't know that.
All I need is, did you see the Skims campaign with Kourtney Kardashian?
No.
It actually look up Skims. I'll wait.
Right now?
Yeah, I'll wait. I think it's like a recent thing. Because you know how like Kourtney's with Travis Barker and then Megan Fox is with Machine Gun Kelly?
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of them together. So do you want me to type in like Skims Megan Fox here?
No, just on Instagram, just go to Skims.
Oh, Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I was looking on
Look
Google.
at these hotties. It's just like proof that Kim Kardashian is a marketing genius. And they're like they're like in the two like coolest couples right now in Hollywood. And then to put them together in a Skims ad is truly just like, she is so smart. And anyone who says different to me is stupid.
Oh, there's a whole, ooh, look at that one. There's like a whole highlight of pictures of just them eating an apple together. Ooh, now they're feeding each other cherries.
It's
topless.
Genius. And to even connect it a little bit more with what we're talking about today, have you like heard Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox like talk about their relationship? They're twin flames. So I need to look up it. I can't remember what that means, but they are flames that were connected at one point that are now two people or something like that. And they said that they've had several lives, and I think they like have met each other in other lives. Like they are like soulmates, like twin flames, I think they call themselves.
A twin flame is an intense soul connection with someone thought to be a person's other half, sometimes called a mirrored soul. It's based on the idea that sometimes one soul gets split into two bodies.
Yes, that's
so
what
one
they
of the
say.
main characteristics of a twin flame relationship is that it will be both challenging and healing.
Do you think we could be twin flames?
Me and you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. A little fire, a little ass.
A little ass? Fired ass? What? Is that what you actually said?
No, I said ice, but I said it in a weird accent. No, like a little fire, a little ass.
It sounds like ass still.
Well,
it doesn't have to be romantic. It's just like souls.
No.
But I don't know. I'm very invested in their relationship. So call me if they ever break up. I'll be in a dark place.
When are you not in a dark place, girl?
That's true.
All right. Well, are you guys ready to have your mind blown?
I think we pumped him up a good amount. So
yeah.
Imani, it's all yours.
Here you go.
Now, all right. We have Imani here today with us. I wrote down specifically word for word to make sure I didn't mess up what exactly. So you own a business that is a gender-neutral wellness brand that specializes in tarot and astrology.
Yes.
Me and Amy have never had tarot. We've never done anything like this before. So we have so many questions. I would love for you to just kind of talk a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, of course. So, hi, everyone. I'm Imani Ray. I'm the owner of Brown Collective. And so what I do is tarot and astrology birth chart readings. So with tarot readings, it's through using cards. You can either use tarot cards or oracle cards. And it is just a way to kind of get more guidance on your life or more clarity. And birth chart readings is what we're going to be doing today, where it's like I take your birthday, your birth time, and your birth location, and we dive a little bit deeper. So today we're going to be kind of seeing the compatibility between you and your sister. So that's really interesting. You can also do it for people that you're in a relationship with. Either you can also do it with like business partners and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting that you can kind of see like
we're kind of business partners, Amy.
Yeah. So we'll be able to see like if you guys work good together, what issues you may have and stuff like that. So It's pretty interesting.
Amy's a little scared.
Ooh. No, I'm not. I think that sounds fun. I didn't even know what to expect, so maybe I was scared because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
excited.
how me and Imani know each other. We actually went to school together at FITM. And then so Amy, my sister, and Imani have not met before. So Imani, Amy, Imani.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then if you haven't noticed, Amy, why do we look like this?
Because it's Halloween, man.
Ooh, this is going to be coming out the same weekend as Halloween. Can anyone guess who I am? I haven't talked to either of you about my costume. Who am I, guys?
I don't think it's an easy guess, but I think you look really cute. I think you should wear that wig every day.
What do you think, Imani? Is your
I have
birth
no
chart
idea.
readings giving you vibes of who I am? Okay, I'm going to give you a hint. Baby.
That was terrible. Yeah, you're Moira from Schitt's Creek.
I'm Moira from Schitt's Creek.
Ooh.
I don't do it good. Like, she has a very specific accent. I don't do it well. Baby, I'm falling apart. No, I can't do it. Amy, what are you?
This old granny. I am actually wearing my grandmother's nightgown.
And then Imani, very fitting.
I'm a witch.
What are you? A sorceress? A witch? Okay, I wasn't sure what the exact word.
Yeah.
So we thought Imani would be the perfect Halloween guest, and so we're really excited to get started. She has not given us any heads up. We don't know anything she's going to say, so we will. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready. So I did take some notes. I might be looking down. The only thing I wrote down is both of your placements. I didn't write down any interpretation or anything like that. So once we start talking about it, this is basically the first time I'm hearing it. This is the first time you're hearing it. So we're kind of going through this together. And that's usually how I like to do it, just so, because I feel like once I start like looking at it, I start getting kind of like the vibe and everything. So, okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to go through each sign, and I'm going to just kind of do both of yours simultaneously to kind of compare the signs. I feel like that's the easiest way to do it. So we're going to get started with that.
Cool.
Do you have any questions before I start?
Am I going to be a millionaire? Can you give me a heads up on that?
So I didn't look into any career things, but I do have some things. I do have some interesting things to say about the podcast. So that's going to be interesting. So
yay. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But what we're going to go first is we're going to talk a little bit about your guys' big three. So what your big three is, it's your sun, moon, and rising sign. And that's kind of the biggest placements that people focus on when they first start getting into birth charts and birth chart readings and everything like that. So we're going to go into both of your big threes, and then we're going to go into other placements that kind of deal with communication and deal with love and different things like that. Okay, so the first sign that we're going to get into is, I guess we'll start off with the sun sign, since that's the sign that everyone knows. So the sun sign is the sign that we kind of show like the world. So everyone kind of sees that depiction of us. That's kind of the first version of us that they really see. So that's what our sun sign is. And so that's what everyone kind of knows when they ask, what's your birthday? What's your zodiac sign? That's your sun sign. But a lot of people don't know that there's so many other signs that encompass that as well. So, Kayla, your sun sign is, your sun is in Pisces in the 10th house. So the 10th house is all about status. It's about career. It's about direction and about achievements. So kind of talking a little bit about that. So the fact that your Pisces is in the 10th house in your sun, you're going to have a lot of success when it comes to creative, like ventures and things like that. So that's why I was kind of mentioning the podcast would be something really good for you, because it's something where you're able to kind of have that outlet, where you're able to be creative, where you're able to kind of express yourself in a sense, but also just be able to be your true self. That Pisces energy is really about being intuitive. It's really about being able to kind of express who you truly are without your guard up and stuff like that. And so I feel like something like the podcast is really helpful, because not only are you expressing your creativity, but you're also able to express like your business mindset as well.
That is
Your
so
son,
spot on.
oh, thank you. So, Amy, your son is in Gemini in the ninth house. So, the ninth house is all about learning, it's about traveling, and it's about like philosophy and things like that. I actually don't know what you do for work, but it does seem like you definitely like to travel a lot, go a lot of different places. And I feel like I don't know if you've gotten like your highest like education or anything like that, but it seems like you really are into learning new things, really studying, and really kind of just like being able to kind of improve what you do. I feel like you're the type of person like, even if you are done with traditional schooling, like I feel like you'll pick up like an extra course here and there, kind of just to like learn new things. And then with that Gemini energy, it's kind of just having that. I feel like people always kind of say Geminis have kind of like almost like two sides to them in a sense, which is kind of true. But I feel like with that Gemini energy, you're more of like the balance side of it. Like I feel like you don't really either kind of lean to one side or the other. I feel like you're definitely like more balanced and you kind of embrace that. And I feel like you can be the type of person who is very extroverted, but you also like to be inside as well. Like I feel like you kind of have the mix of those two personalities. When it comes to like just spending time with friends or just doing stuff like that. Like I feel like you do like to kind of like go out and do stuff, but you're also like, oh, I need my like alone time too. And I feel like that comes up a lot with that Gemini energy.
It's a master's degree.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. And I actually love learning. I feel like I kept going to school more just because I like to keep learning. And also we travel all the time. Like we love going on adventures, like me and Jared together, not necessarily for my job, but we do that all the time. So my brain is just going, oh.
Well, I'm excited. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, I guess I'll point this out later, but you both have very similar placements in different ways. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but I'm like looking over, you guys both have a lot of Gemini placements and a lot of Cancer placements as well. So we'll kind of get into that as well too. So the next placement that we're going to discuss is we'll go into the rising sign. So the rising sign is kind of like the opposite of the sun sign. So the rising sign is kind of what people, once they start to actually get to know you, this is the person that you kind of present as your rising sign. So our rising sign is kind of the person that we have under the mask or that we sometimes keep hidden. And I feel like that's like once people really get to know us, that's our rising sign. So Kayla, yours is in Gemini in the first house. So that's what I kind of mean by you guys have similar placements in certain areas. So you being like a Gemini rising in the first house. So the first house is a lot about childhood. It's about self-development. And all the rising signs are in the first house. That's another thing to note as well. But the other placements, they're all in different houses. So your rising being in Gemini in the first house, it really kind of just points to just again being able to kind of navigate different situations. Like I feel like if you put yourself in a situation, you're able to navigate it really well. And when you put yourself in other situations, you're kind of able to tailor yourself to whatever you need for that moment. So whether it's like you're going into a business setting, you're able to kind of tailor yourself to be more professional. If you're going into a friend setting, you're able to kind of transform into that person to be more bubbly and more friendly.
Like when you went to my house for a s'mores and whores party and you won a free vibrator.
Yes, exactly that.
I have one more question before you move forward too. Gemini. Can you talk a little, because like when I think of Gemini, like obviously I knew my sister was Gemini, but it has this kind of connotation of like Geminis be crazy. Can you talk to like why that is and like a little on that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course. So every sign has its stereotypes.
Sure.
I feel like I don't really, I mean, some of them are kind of accurate, some of them aren't. Before I say anything, I do want to also say that I am also a Gemini rising too. So that's another thing to note. But
Ooh,
the thing, Yeah. So the thing is about, I guess, Gemini placements and why people think Geminis are crazy, quote unquote, is I think it's just because it's like, it's almost like that twin energy. So it's almost like there's two sides of the coin. So it's like, that's why I think people can think Geminis are crazy, because they can either switch up really fast, like emotion wise, or they can also switch up very fast, like personality wise. So it's like, but to me, I see it more as being versatile. Like, I think it's a good thing to be able to kind of switch to which environment you're in. But some people don't see it as that. Some people see it as like flighty, or some people see it as crazy, or some people see it as, annoying to constantly be changing in between those two personalities in a sense. And so I think that's why some people can kind of label it as crazy or a lot to deal with, because it is kind of like you're having almost two different personalities that are intertwined.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then, so yeah, your rising is in Gemini, and that's just a little bit about that. And then Amy's rising is in Virgo. So Virgos are very, especially when it comes to rising, it's very, you like things a very certain way. I feel like you're very particular with like how you like things. I feel like you're very, like organized, not necessarily when it, maybe not when it comes to your stuff, but I just feel like when it comes to like what you're like planning to do, like when you plan trips, like I feel like you're very organized. You're like, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that. Like, this is like, you have some sort of plan. Like, I feel like you never go into anything without a plan. And I feel like a lot of times it's like, you also take the very like analytical approach with things. So if you're getting in an argument, okay. Sorry, I had to look at something before I said it, because I'm like, I was going to say, if you get in like an argument with someone, I feel like you use a very logical approach. Yeah, I feel like you do, because your Mars is also in Virgo. So I feel like if you're going to try to argue, you definitely try to bring logic into it, because you feel as if you do use logic, people can't really debunk that. So I feel like you do use logic a lot, and I feel like you do plan things a lot. And I feel like sometimes you can even over plan things, and people can sometimes not get necessarily annoyed, but just feel like, oh, like this is just so planned out, like this is just so like such a big deal. And so I feel like sometimes you do make big deals out of things that especially when it comes to like planning and hosting, I feel like you're like a super host as well. So that's what I kind of have to say about that. So if you guys have any comments or anything.
I just can't even, I don't have a lot to say, because I'm just shocked by this, because you don't know me at all. Like, you don't know me at all, but you're saying things and it's like, what? I didn't even know that this was a thing. I'm very impressed by this, and it's so interesting. This is a little bit off topic, but I'm just curious, like, how did you get into this?
Yeah, so it's almost been a year, and it's actually very fitting that this is a Halloween episode, because I actually got my first tarot deck last year on Halloween. It arrived in the mail, and it's just something that I just felt called to do. Like, I would watch like YouTube videos on it, and I just was like, oh, like I could do this. And then I got my first tarot deck, and I just started practicing on people for free. Like, I literally went on Twitter and I was like, does anyone want a free reading? Like, I'm new, I've never done this before. And then literally like a bunch of strangers like DM'd me and was like, can you give me a reading? And so I gave them all readings. All of them were like 100% accurate. Like, I didn't know any of these people. And then after that, I started really getting into astrology. I got my birth chart read last year, and it was just so accurate. Like, it really opened my eyes to like so many different things. And so then I started like studying astrology as well. Like, I worked with a few like astrologers and stuff, and I like have just been studying. But I think there's a few different ways that people do read astrology birth charts. Some people, because it's definitely more like with tarot, it's more like up to your own intuition, your own interpretation. Whereas with astrology, it's definitely more like logical. Like, there's definitely like rules, I guess, to it. And so, but yeah, I've been studying or practicing this for around about almost a year now. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I got started into it.
And then can you, just because I know nothing, between like the birth chart, what you're doing now for us versus a tarot reading, you went a little bit of this more intuition with tarot reading, but is it like for tarot reading, do you have to go in with a specific question as like our side of it, or how does that work?
So most of the time people don't have questions. Like people will just say general and that's it. And with the tarot readings, all I ask is their zodiac sign, and then I start pulling cards, and then I start telling them, whatever it is. And then usually once like I start talking, they'll either might have questions or they don't have any. Some people don't talk the whole time. It just depends on the people. But yeah, so some people don't really have questions. They don't say anything. And so I'm just talking the whole time and I'm just sharing whatever they need to hear. Some people have a lot of questions. Some people want to talk about certain things. Some people want me to know more information. Some people don't want me to know anything. So basically it just depends on the comfort level of the people. So, but sometimes people don't say anything and it's like, I just can know whatever it is. So, and sometimes people do ask specific questions and other stuff will come out. So like some people will ask about love, and if that's not prevalent to like what they need to hear, something completely different will come out. So it just depends, but yeah.
Okay. And one more question, because I know nothing. Because you're telling us a lot about like ourselves and like more like kind of traits. Is there any aspect of like future? Like, can you see, like, I know this sounds silly. It's spooky Halloween. Like, is there any, maybe more on the tarot reading of like, you could kind of see maybe someone's path or something like that? Could you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah. So, some people do so I feel like most of the readings I do are based in the present and current moment. I can do, I guess, predictive readings. Most people don't want that though, I don't think. And also I think it's kind of like, it's one of those things where I think doing predictive readings sometimes like things can always change. I think that's why it's sometimes not as like meaningful to do that. Like, I feel like to me, it's more helpful to kind of touch on the current situation, like what people are currently going through, and being able to kind of bring that to light, because I feel like a lot of times, like people are kind of ignoring what they're currently going through and they're so focused on the future. They're so focused on the past. But yeah, you can definitely use tarot for that, to predict things, to see what's going to happen, and stuff like that. You can also use astrology birth chart readings as well. Like if we would have done the career-based one, like I would have told you like what your like soul's purpose would have been, or like what you could do for work, or like what your chart kind of, what would align most with your chart. So for those, I guess those are kind of predictive, but it's just more of things like you could do. Yeah.
Cool. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like pointing out your like strengths and weaknesses, and then just helping you like
move forward
your direction, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely more like the way I do it is definitely more for like guidance.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. All right. Awesome. We'll stop talking your ear off so you can keep going.
No problem. So the next one we're going to get into is the moon. So the moon is how we deal with emotions, and how we express our emotions, and basically how we deal with our emotions and everything like that. So Kayla, your moon is in Gemini in the 12th house. So the 12th house is all about like subconscious. It's all about spirituality. It's all about kind of the unknown, what we can't really see in front of our eyes. And your moon is in Gemini. So I kind of feel like with this, like, since it is in Gemini, like, I feel like you're not very direct with how you feel. Like, I feel like sometimes you try to like bypass your emotions and you don't really want to share it with people. But I also feel like on the same aspect, like with certain people, like you are really emotional with them as well. So I feel like it's kind of based off your comfort. So it's like, if you're comfortable with the person, you'll be, you'll cry with them, you'll be open with them, you'll kind of be able to be a little bit more vulnerable. But if you don't know them, you're extremely like closed off. You're not going to really show emotions. You're not really going to kind of let yourself be really deep in your emotions when it comes to that. Like, I feel like you can be very closed off. Which is like pretty interesting. But I do feel like when it comes to like you and Amy, I feel like you guys do like share your emotions really openly. Like, I feel like you guys are really close, and I feel like you do share a lot with her. And I feel like you guys are able to really connect on an emotional level. And the reason why I say that is because Amy's moon is in Cancer in the 10th house. So 10th house is all about status, career, and achievements. And Cancer, keep in mind, I also have a Cancer moon. Cancer moons are very emotional. So it's very heavy on the emotions. Like, I feel like one of the more emotional moon placements that you can have. So Amy, I feel like when you are really sad or when you really have a lot of big emotions, I feel like you express them, even if you don't want to. I feel like you do. And so that's why I kind of feel like you and Kayla's energy, like when you are together and when you are sad, you're able to really open up with each other. You're really able to express how you feel. And I feel like you're more vulnerable when you are with each other than when you aren't. But I do feel like with Amy, I do feel like even with other people, like even people you might not be as close with, you still do get a little bit emotional, even though you don't want to sometimes. So I feel like that can kind of can come up as well. And then I also don't know, actually, yeah, so I feel like so I feel like with the, like, since this is also revolving around career and status and stuff, I don't know if you do, or Amy, I don't know if you do anything like your job is, do you work with kids, or what do you do for work?
Yes, so now I have a son, so I've been at home, but yeah, I worked in early education.
Oh, I didn't know you had a kid. Okay. What did you did early education before that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I worked with kids at a early learning center.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. The reason why I said the kids thing is because, Cancer moons are just very emotion based. And so I felt like whatever, and the fact that it's in your 10th house, like I felt like whatever you do for work, definitely has to be something where you're very emotionally connected to it. And it's strange. I didn't know you had kids, but I definitely see you as very nurturing. And I feel like that also is another Cancer moon thing as well. Like being very nurturing, being very caring, being very loving. Definitely like very like motherly energy as well. Like, so that makes a lot of sense too.
That's her vibe. And her master's is in early childhood education. She has worked like in kids her whole life as well. Now she has a kid. Plus she does she nannies or babysits another kid like every week. So like that's what she does for work.
Wow.
That's just crazy to me. I have a question. Like, because you know me to like a certain extent and you don't know anything about Amy. How did that go into like versus like kind of friends of yours or people who know you coming for a reading versus people you know nothing about? I'm curious how that kind of, I feel like it's hard not to like include certain things you know about the person, right? I mean, you just can't. It's not possible.
Even though I know people, there's things that they don't tell me. So for example, like I've given a few friends like tarot readings, and like I didn't even know they were dating anyone, and like it came out. So it's like there's things like, for example, there's things like that I don't know, and it will come out in the cards, and I'll just be like, oh, like, and it's weird because some things, like, for example, I did one of my friends' readings, and I did her like birth chart reading, and I was like, keep in mind, like, I know what she like wants to do for a career, I know what she wants to do, but like the birth chart was kind of saying something completely like not different, but just something that's like she might not have really thought about, or I didn't think she was thinking about. And so when I brought it up, I was like, oh, let me just say it. And when I brought it up, she's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. That's something that I've always like wanted to do. And so it's just like,
wow.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't tell me, and it will just come up when like we're like doing it. But if I think it's easier to do it for people I know or not, I don't think it necessarily matters. And if I do like say, that's why I try to, like, if I do know information about the person, I always will say, like, even if I'm like with a new client and they tell me information and then I for some reason have to repeat that information later on, I always say, well, you told me this. So they know that like I knew that information because I actually like was told that, besides me just talking about it. So yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Okay, perfect. So the next placement I wanted to talk about which is pretty interesting. I like to talk about this a lot because it really has to do with a lot of different things. So the next placement we're going to talk about is Mercury. We're actually currently in Mercury retrograde right now. So basically what that means is Mercury is the sign of, or the planet of communication. So that's why when it goes retrograde, communication is just super messed up. Technology, honestly, that's probably why the technology wasn't working either. Because I'm like, technology will be off, like everything will just be just messed up. Anything dealing with communication. So
Wow.
it makes
We've
sense
never
why
had like technology issues on the podcast before. This is our first time. That's so cool. Oh, I feel spooky. Sorry, let's go.
I know. So yeah, because that's what I was thinking this morning. I was like, oh, it literally just started a few days ago. So I'm like, I haven't had any trouble, but I'm also like, this is the first little bit. But yeah, so it really affects communication. It affects, like I said, really anything to do with communication. So this is all about how you communicate with each other, how you communicate with other people, and stuff like that. So we're going to get into your Mercury placements. So Kayla, your Mercury is in Pisces in the 11th house. The 11th house is all about community, friendships, and collaboration. So, when I said earlier why I thought this podcast would be a really good idea for you is because of your Mercury placement. I really like to look at Mercury placements also if people can sing, if people can talk well, if people can, like, this is also where you would look at if for public speakers, this is the placement. So, the fact that your Mercury is in Pisces in the 11th house is really good for podcasts because one, you're dealing with community, you're dealing with collaboration, you're dealing with bringing friends together, bringing that sense of community together, bringing everyone together with your words and your voice. And Pisces has that very creative energy, that intuitive energy, being able to just really kind of connect with people and bring people together. And so the fact that your Mercury is in Pisces in the 11th house makes a lot of sense, especially when it comes to this podcast. So again, you're going to have a lot of, kind of, I guess, good luck or good fortune when it comes to public speaking, which I kind of already knew that because I would see you speak in class and stuff. So that's not as fair. But yeah, definitely good public speaker. And I feel like this podcast is definitely something that is going to be really successful, especially when it comes to you speaking. And
That's
then,
exciting.
Yes. And then the good thing about Amy's too is yours is Mercury and Gemini in the 9th house. So again, that 9th house placement is all about learning and traveling. So this is really good as well when it comes to the podcast because even if you don't necessarily want to teach people things, people are still going to be like learning something from listening to these podcasts. So I feel like that's like where you're going to bring your energy into like either educating people or having some sort of like knowledge bit or have some sort of teaching bit into the podcast. I feel like will be really helpful. Also, the fact that traveling is involved too, I think is a really good thing when it comes to the podcast because it's like I know both of you enjoy traveling, so it's like if you do want to eventually travel together and do like different locations, like on spot, like podcast locations, stuff like that, filming in different areas, just different things like that, I feel like would be a really cool thing. Or even just being eventually able to have like shows or different things like that, where it's like you're able to like meet people in person or being able to travel and have meetups and stuff like that. And then that Gemini energy again is like just being able to have that balance when you're speaking to people. So being able to kind of change your tone depending on who you're speaking to, depending on who your audience is, and everything like that is very important. So I feel like both of you have really good Mercury placements when it comes to not only communicating with your audience. I guess I should talk about how you guys communicate with each other too. So how you guys communicate with each other, I feel like you communicate pretty well. That Pisces and Gemini energy, I feel like is a pretty good mesh in my opinion. I think it meshes really well. So I feel like you guys don't really have too much communication issues. The only thing that there might be issues or not issues with, but just concerns is when you guys get mad at each other, you can communicate your anger in different ways. So that's something to just be mindful of. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But when it comes to you just talking about normal things, interacting with each other, you don't really have that many communication issues. I feel like you guys are able to communicate your needs and wants pretty easily. But if there is anger involved, that's going to change things up. So I think we'll get into that next. But do you have any questions about the Mercury placement?
Well, I actually think that the Mercury retrograde thing, like people say that all the time, and I've never actually known what that means. And my brain is going like, oh my gosh, because literally the last 2 days, me and Jared have had terrible communication, like not felt super disconnected. But before that, we were actually doing super, super good with communication. So it's crazy how that affects like relationships, communication, like so much. That's nuts.
I actually noticed, so Mercury retrograde, is it like the same time every year or is it random?
So it's not the same time. We have multiple ones throughout the year. So I feel like I don't know how often it is, but every few weeks where it's like it happens, or every few whatever, but it happens pretty often. So it happens like a few times a year.
I leave my job and start a new one, like essentially September, anytime, like it's fall. Every single time I've done it, every couple of years. And does that say anything? Is there anything to that? Because I was just looking, I was like, that is so weird. There's something about this time that I just feel like I need to do something different or I might explode.
Okay, I have another question to ask you. How long are you in these jobs for?
I've never been at a job longer than 2.5 years. Right now, I'm at a job for 2 years.
Okay. I don't think that has anything to do with timing. It has to do, This is my thought, because I'm the same way. Yeah. It's the Gemini energy.
Okay.
So the reason why I say that is I think it's your Gemini rising, because I'm the same way. I cannot be at a job for longer than 2 years. Like I can't. And the reason why, because like I would wonder the same thing. I'm like, oh, why am I getting this? And it's the same thing, like the exact same thing. Like all my jobs started in like end of August. So it's like August, September.
Mine
like that's
too.
when yeah. And so for me, what I kind of like figured out about that, it's definitely the Gemini rising energy. Because it's like kind of what I was talking about before, like having that duality. It's like you constantly want to change. You constantly want, it's almost like you get bored of things. So you want something new, you want something different, you want that excitement back. And so the reason for wanting to change jobs, I definitely think is definitely a Gemini rising thing. I don't know if it really shows up in other Gemini placements as well, but for me, that's where I really feel like after the 2 years, I have to go. But I think it's just one, it's boredom, I think. But I think two, it's also just like what I've learned is like after 2 years of doing something, like if I'm not growing or if I'm not learning anything else, I just feel stuck and stagnant. So I think it's also that feeling of not wanting to be stuck or stagnant. Like, so I think it's both of those things. It's a feeling of just wanting to constantly do something new, wanting to constantly do something different. But yeah, and also based off like the time period, I do think our bodies get kind of used to things. So I think that's sometimes why, like because I start feeling like that clock ticking, like I'm like, okay, it's about to be 2 years, I need to go. So it's kind of like that internal clock. I don't know if it has anything to do with what's going on during that time or that season, or if it's more, I think it's more of just our inner body being like, okay, it's time to go. So I think it's more of that feeling.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're 100% on the same page on that one.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to get into the Mars and then we'll get into the Venus placement after. So Mars is how we deal with anger and aggression. And so Kayla, your Mars is in Cancer in the second house. So the second house is all about money, value, and resources. So I feel like when you feel like you're not secure, whether it's financially or whether you don't really feel stable in the situation you're in, it really triggers a lot of anger and emotions in you. Also, the fact that your Cancer is in Mars is when you get mad, I feel like you sometimes take a more emotional approach. You'll bring the emotions in. So when you're having an argument, we were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, but when you're having an argument, you're definitely going to bring in the emotion side. You're going to say, this is how I'm feeling. This is why I'm hurt. This is how you made me feel. You're definitely going to play heavy on the emotions rather than using logic when it comes to arguments or kind of like asserting your point. Whereas Amy Amy's Mars is in Virgo in the 12th house. So this 12th house is all about subconscious. It's all about completion. It's all about kind of like the final like end of things. So with Amy, you're not going to use emotions when you're angry. You're definitely going to, like I said kind of earlier, you're going to use logic. You're going to kind of have that straightforward approach and be like, this is how I feel. This is what's bothering me. This is what's making me upset. This is how you're making me upset. You're definitely going to try to kind of just talk it out, and kind of assert yourself in a way. So I definitely feel like when it comes to anger, you guys are kind of you handle your anger differently. And so sometimes I feel like when one of you is angry, you guys can kind of get into it a little bit more because you guys just have different ways of expressing it. But yeah, I don't know if you have any questions or if that's accurate.
Amy, do you want to go?
Well, I just feel like we don't get angry at each other that much to even know how we react to it.
I honestly, like, since we were like little, I think maybe it's partly because we don't live in the same state. So there is kind of that space, kind of is probably a lot of padding there, you know? But definitely what you spoke about with when I feel unstable, or I'm kind of in that zone right now. And that's like, I will knock down an entire house to get myself to a place where I'm not like that, where I feel like I'm where I need to be, what I need to be doing. And that's not necessarily where I feel at the moment. So I feel like I'm kind of in that at the moment. So that's what spoke to me the most.
Yeah, I feel that.
And then also when I am angry, like me and Marcus do get in like little tiffs or something, it's hard for me not to cry. I can't. And so I can't, it's like, it's 100%. It's emotion.
Yeah.
I don't think last time I was I cry every single time I'm angry. And it pisses me off even more because I want to I'm angry, like I'm tough. And then I just cry.
I feel that.
But Amy, I definitely didn't see her. I don't know. I guess I'm not married to her. So, but like the logic part surprises me. I would think she would be emotional too. So that surprises me.
No, I kind of see it. I feel like I like to win in arguments and I'm a really good arguer. So I would say that brings logic into it. Like I know how to win the argument. So
you should have been a lawyer.
That makes sense to me.
A lawyer to children.
Maybe if I had that public Maybe if I had that public speaking part to me like you, but I don't got that.
Yeah, I had the logic and the public speak. Like if we put ourselves together, we're superhuman.
Yeah, so podcast. Here we go.
Woo-woo.
So the last placement I'm going to talk about is your guys' Venus. So this all has to do with love, like how you express love, how you deal with love, how you embrace love and stuff like that. So Kayla, yours is Aries in the 11th house. So again, the 11th house is all about community, friendships, collaboration. So I feel like you really express love to a lot of different people. Like I feel like you not only express love to, your husband and stuff, but it's just also you express love to your community, to your groups of friends. Like I feel like you're the type of person who you're very I don't think affectionate is the right word, but I feel like you're one of those people who makes it known, because that Aries energy, that fire energy, you make it known that you care about people. You make it known that you really love them. Even if you don't verbalize it, I feel like with your actions, you show them. And I feel like that's really important to do, because I feel like a lot of people don't really do that. And I feel like you make an effort to not only show that you care by either doing acts of service or by doing certain things for them, or by even whatever their love language is. I feel like you really tailor yourself to that person and whatever they need, which I feel like is really helpful when it comes to that. I also feel like sometimes you can maybe get into friendships, or I feel like maybe in the past gotten into relationships really fast or very quickly. But I do feel like you kind of, when you, not necessarily you make friends fast, but I feel like when you do meet someone that you connect with, you really want to go all in very quickly with it. And it kind of speeds up, I feel like, the friendship in a sense. So I feel like that's kind of like what you kind of do in a sense. And then Amy's Venus is in Taurus in the 8th house. So the 8th house is all about transformation. It's all about rebirth, and it's all about being a little bit secretive. So I feel like in a sense, Amy, you're sometimes secretive when it comes to like your love life. Like I felt like you might not have really shared like all like your partners or people that you've been with. Like I feel like you can be a little bit like secretive in the past to that. I also feel like with the Taurus energy, it's very like stable. Like it's again with like you really value like stability in your relationships. Like you don't like when people change up or if people act different. Like you really like to go in a relationship and this is how they're going to be and this is how you know they're going to be. You don't like uncertainty when it comes to relationships, and you don't like uncertainty when it comes to love. Like I feel like you always go for like the safe bet in a sense, because I feel like you're not going to kind of really go out of your comfort zone when it comes to love. But I feel like I don't know, I also feel like you might also be kind of like, either like, I don't know if you like to give gifts or you like to receive gifts, but I feel like you might give really good gifts. I kind of am getting that energy of like you are a gift giver and you like to either put together gifts or you like to really express your love through showing people, like through actually giving them things. And I feel like Taurus is also about like a lot of like material goods as well. So just making sure your home is in order, making sure your home is a very specific way. Also just making sure like just everything you do, like you have to just make sure you have enough of. Like I feel like you don't want any lack when it comes to, obviously you don't want any lack, but you don't want any lack when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your home life, when it comes to things that you need. I feel like you're the type of person where you're like, you want to make sure that you are more than abundant in everything that you have. And then when it comes to you guys loving each other and how you kind of interact with each other is, I feel like that Taurus and Aries energy really kind of balances each other out, because it's like that fire energy and then that earth energy kind of calms it down. So I feel like you guys are able to really express like your love for each other. I don't know if it's like necessarily like if you guys tell each other you love each other, but I do feel like you express it in different ways where you guys both feel equally loved by one another, which I feel like is very important. I don't really feel like you guys say it, but I feel like you guys just express it in the action. So I feel like you guys are both very like, you will do something for the other or like to make their life easier, or you'll do something to help them out. Like I feel like you're more of that type of people. Like I don't know if you guys say I love you every single day or anything like that, but it kind of feels like you're more like actions and stuff like that. Like actions speak louder than words is what I'm getting from both of you guys.
I agree. We don't say I love you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I used to say I love you when we ended the phone call, and you would always act like I was the weirdest person.
I was like, okay, weirdo. Oh no, on my side of things, I don't think I like people. I love them. So if people are in my life, I automatically, it could be a coworker. It could be someone I see consistently at a coffee shop. That I have a couple words with. I don't know. I feel like I automatically love people, but I don't go around telling everyone I love them. But like the small group of my daily life and my life, I definitely feel like I love hard. And I don't really have an in-between. They're either just people I don't care about and they aren't in my life, or people who are in my life and I automatically love them, whether they know it or not.
You do a good job giving people, not necessarily gifts, but like she was saying, action. Like you do things, like you'll plan something where everybody gets to really enjoy and you care that they are having a good time, and you just like show love very strongly like that. Maybe you aren't saying it, but everything that she said with you, I was feeling like, yeah, that's really spot on.
Really? Because that's actually not how I see myself, which is weird. I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't do enough to show people.
Yeah, I do. I see it. And then for my own self, I'm trying to think about what she said. How I show.
It was spot on.
Yeah, I felt like it was spot on, but now my brain just went blank.
I'm curious, like the secretive part was kind of interesting. Maybe you have a secret double life. And then kind of not going out of your comfort zone, I think was really, for me, I'm someone who has to be outside of it. She's someone who has to be inside of it. And that's one of our main differences.
Yeah, I actually see that a lot. And secretive, the way she said in the past, because in the past, I feel like I was more secretive about my relationships, but not obviously the one I'm in now or have ever been in with Jared. But all my other past relationships, I actually was a lot more secretive about, which is interesting. So I wouldn't think of it that way, but yeah.
And that's the end of the reading, right?
Yes. So that is it. Do you guys have any questions? Anything you want to know? Any like clarification?
I kind of want to ask a question, but again, you probably don't. I don't know if you'll know this or not, but there's potentially something big that I'm going to find out about in the next week. A big change in my life potentially. Do you know if that's going to happen or not? Is that too vague?
Is that with your job or?
I'm hoping for a job offer.
Yeah, I have some cards here. I can pull some cards on it.
Could you really? Oh crap!
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry if I don't get it though, but I'll try to stay strong. I'm really nervous, Imani. You could give it to me straight. I promise I won't cry in front of you. I'll just do it after.
What is the job for?
It's a social media coordinator position at Rejuvenation, that home goods store in downtown Portland. So we would be moving.
Okay, so a few interesting things are coming up. So I'll just like tell you what I see. So this like Eight of Swords, this Eight of Swords energy is kind of like just really being like stuck in your head about the situation and not really you can't really see a clear like ending. Like you're just almost so stuck and you've just been really worrying and stressing about this a lot. And I feel like it's just really been weighing hard on you. And in a way that it's like really like affecting like your sleep. It's affecting what you've been doing. I feel like it's just really weighing like heavy on you. The next card that I feel like is interesting and I'm a little bit confused by almost is the Devil card. The reason why I'm confused is like, it feels like there's something that's not good for you, I guess, in a sense. And I don't really know what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the job, but it seems like, I don't know if it's something like, I don't know. It could be two things. So it could be like this job, like it could seem like it's really like good on the outside, but there might be like something about it where it's like once you get into it, it's not what you really want. Or it could just mean it's also kind of just like showing like kind of like almost like the other side of it. So it's like having to go through like the moving, having to go through all that transformation, all that change. It seems like there's just like a lot of like moving parts in this. But it's weird because it's almost like I feel like the Devil card when it comes up, it's a lot about like feeling temptation, feeling like tempted to do something, and it's not necessarily the best option or the best choice.
So maybe that's moving to Portland in general.
I don't know. Like, have you had any hesitancy to move, or like how have you been feeling about?
I go back and forth every day for the past years.
I know. I don't know. It's really strange.
Interesting.
Like I'm not. Yeah, it's weird because I'm not really getting a straight like answer with this, but with the next two cards, I kind of am. So, but with this Devil card, it's kind of just like maybe it might be like one of those things where it's like the grass is greener on the other side, where it's like we always kind of
think
like,
about that all the. That's one of my.
Yep. Yeah, like I think
it's not going to help certain situations that I think it might help.
Mm-hmm. I think it's that. It's like it's almost like you're not seeing it for how it truly is, and it's almost like you have this like facade of like how it would be. And I feel like it's just important to like if you are going to move to go into that knowing the truth about it, I guess. Like knowing that it's obviously going to be hard to move. It's obviously going to be hard. But I do think it's like but I think with the way this reading is going, I feel like you're going to have the option like to decide if you like I feel like you're going to get it and you're going to have the option to decide. The reason why I say this is because this Two of Pentacles card right here, it's all talking about like having two different choices. So being able to stay or being able to go. And even this person, like they have like their little suitcase, like they're ready to go on their trip. They're ready to move. They're ready like to go on this like next journey. This person over here is like wanting to stand still, wanting to be in the same spot. So it's kind of like showing that you're torn between these two choices. You're like, I don't know if I want to move or if I want to stay. But the thing is, like with this situation, it feels like you do have the choice to pick. So it does seem like you are going to get either that opportunity or another opportunity in Portland. and it feels like you're really going to be able to kind of decide like what you want to do. The next card that came up is the Two of Wands. So this is also kind of talking about a new start, like using that new fiery energy to have a new start, to go for something new, to do something different, and to kind of see a new approach. So this is also really showing kind of that new energy. So it's like if you were to move there, it seems like you're going to be able to kind of dominate it. You're going to do well. And it seems like you're going to have a lot of confidence going into it as well. Like this person's like really confident. They're really like excited for the future. It's kind of like having that new energy to it. And then the next card that came up is the Ace of Swords. This is also a very like new energy as well. So being able to have all the tools, being able to have everything you need and really being able to like have the foundation. So I feel like when you're going into this decision, whether you're going to decide to do this job or not, you just really need to like ask yourself, think about where do you want to build your foundation? Where do you want to build your roots? Where do you want to, expand your family? Like, where do you see your life at? So I feel like it's almost like you almost have to think,
Great questions.
a little bit. Yeah. So I feel like it's almost like you have to look a little bit further than what is currently going on. I feel like I feel like this job like is a stepping stone, but I feel like it's almost like you have to think about like what is the life that you want to live, like, and how do you want to live it, and like really get down to that, because like with this Ace of Swords, it's like you have all the tools, you have everything that you need, you have literally everything that you need to move forward, but it's almost like you have to be the one to decide what you want to do and how you want to proceed, because it's like I feel like you're definitely going to have that option. It's just you have to be the one to make that option, because I feel like if you don't get the job and like then it's almost like the choice is made for you. So it's like I feel like it's almost like you kind of have to decide like in your mind, like if you really are open to moving and if that's something that you really want to do. And I feel like if you're really open to it, then you will get the opportunity. And then let me see if there's anything else.
I don't know if
okay. Wow. Maybe it is. Maybe you are going to move.
This is stressful.
I know. I'm like, I don't know if this is. I'm like, I don't know if this is helping or not. But this one also looks like it's a moving part.
I mean, it's extremely accurate. So it seems like from what you said so far, I'm going to get the job, but if I go, the devil will get me.
No, that is not how it is. Do not be scared. What I said is the devil is not going to get you. But what I do think it's going to just be one of those things where it's like, I do think it's the grass is greener, where it's like,
yeah, I know.
I do this all the time too, like where, and that's why I had to decide, like, because I was trying to decide if I wanted to move or not. And I'm like, and that's why I really had to ask myself, like, do I want to move because I want to move and I want to be in this place? Or do I want to move because I think I'll be happy, or I think it will be better, or I think it will be whatever. So I think it's just like really coming to terms with why you want to move.
Yeah,
I think would be helpful.
Kind of the bigger reasons why I want to move probably won't actually be fixed with the move.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just like,
yeah, probably.
Yeah. And it's like just almost coming to terms with that, just knowing that like, it's almost like our problems travel with us type of thing. So it's like,
sure.
So it's like, yeah, just know that. But the reason why I said I feel like you might be moving too is like the Six of Pentacles, like these people have like all their boxes, like they're ready to go. The Six of Pentacles also talks about like power dynamics and different things like that. So you're just going to want to make sure that you are like in charge of what you're doing and in charge of like, kind of like your life, and not letting not other people, but not letting like a job dictate what you do, or not letting like certain things dictate what you do. And I feel like it's very important to like know that you can really do anything, and it's more about what you want to do and less about what the job wants you to do, or less about like that. So I feel like it's really focusing on what you want and what you like. Again, I keep saying it, but it's like focusing on like the life that you want to live.
Yeah. Well, that was an experience. No, it's just like, it's crazy how accurate. Like, it's 100% The reason why I'm moving is because my mental health is just nuts and I can't get a hold of it. So I'm hoping, what if I do? And it's like, it's a continual thing of my life of just, if I do this, then I'll be happy. And then I'll do this. And then that devil card.
But also, I feel like there is a lot of other things pulling you to Portland besides just a job or like whatever.
100%.
Like having
Yeah.
sport. Yeah, so don't just focus on the negative.
Yeah, focus on the reasons why you like it there. Like, I feel like I've never been there, but it looks beautiful. So just like focus on that. Like, and then the thing is too, like, as much as I said, like the grass isn't always greener, I do feel like sometimes like, that's also another thing too. There's actually a thing called like astrocartography where you can see if based on your birth chart where you'll be happiest in the world. So there's also that too. So that is a thing. And
I could pay for.
I don't do it, but
I can look it up.
I'm like, I can figure it out, but it's pretty interesting because I do think it's
interesting.
I think it's accurate because like down here, I'm not nearly as happy as I am when I'm in the Bay. So I think it's interesting how certain locations you can just feel completely different. So I definitely think that is a thing as well. So that's
interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that existed. How cool. There's like this whole world that like, I feel like I'm in such like a little box that there's so much I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we already took a lot of your time, but like we have a whole other segment. Is that okay? Are you good time-wise?
Yes.
Okay. The end of segment 1 is, do you have any, from what you know in the birth chart readings that you gave us, do you have any advice for us moving forward? I mean, you kind of just gave me some, but maybe for Amy or anything.
Yeah.
or us as a whole.
Yeah, like, or the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the podcast is going to be really successful. I feel like you guys get along really well and you have really good chemistry. So I'm really excited to see the rest of the episodes. I'm really excited to see where you guys go. And I think Amy kind of brought it up earlier a little bit where it's like you guys both have different qualities that you guys both bring to this podcast. And it's nice that you guys do have different things that you can bring. And I really feel like that's what also kind of adds to the whole vibe, to the whole energy of it. So I think it's just interesting to be able to see like how you're both so different, but also similar, like extremely similar. So I think it's just kind of interesting to see that. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome.
And yeah.
I mean, that's like the whole basis of our podcast is just two sisters who grew up and all this stuff. And we have similar, we have similarities, but at the same time, we're so different. That's like the whole premise. So it's really cool. Like, I feel like our birth charts really proved that, which is kind of cool. And then I'm just going to be dreaming about devil cards all night. So, well, Instagram at Imani Butler on Instagram. And you will not be disappointed. She was spot on. And so we're going to kind of liven things up a bit. We're going to do a fun game. And since it's a Halloween episode, I thought we could play Would You Rather Halloween Edition. And so I'm just going to say 2 different options, and then we're going to go around and say which ones you would choose.
Okay.
All right. So would you rather be abducted by aliens or turn into a zombie?
Definitely aliens.
Really? See, that's scarier to me. Like, oh wait, no, but turn into a zombie, you're dead. Like, so it's like be abducted and maybe die, or be a zombie and you're dead. Right?
But also,
or would I rather be dead?
Yeah, or be abducted and you're traumatized for the rest of your life for whatever they do to you.
Yeah, so you're mentally a zombie. This is a toughie.
I choose abduction because what a cool story if you do return.
Okay, all right. I'll do it too so I could be part of the cool kids. Would you rather know the date of your death or know the cause of your death?
Neither.
If you had to choose, maybe the cause, because maybe you could change it, like eat less red meat.
I think I'll do
so
the
you don't have
date.
A heart attack. You'd rather know the date.
I'll do it.
What if it's... I couldn't do that. I would have way too... I mean, I would give up right now.
The reason why I don't want to know the
Uh,
context is I feel like it's going to be like Final Destination where you can't like escape it. And I'm like, oh no.
Still to this day, whenever there's like a truck with a bunch of logs, like I fucking get it out the more out of there that I could possibly get.
yes.
Amy, do you have a response or no?
I thought I was going to get away with not responding. I guess the date. I think I would want to know the date if I had to choose between those two.
You guys are crazy. Cause all the way. Would you rather resort to cannibalism or die of starvation? I would die of starvation. I don't think I could do it.
Like, it depends on how long term it is, maybe. And like, did the person die, or did I have to kill them?
Yeah, that was my question too. Like, are they already dead? Or
I think there's no specifics here, but I mean, I think you could just decide of your situation. Would you rather of them be already dead, and so you're not murdering anyone? I think that counts. If you would eat an already dead person, that could be, you could resort to cannibalism.
Okay, if it was like a temporary measure to survive, I would do that. But not if it was like the rest of my life I have to eat humans.
yeah, I agree.
Gotcha. All right. I think I'd die of starvation. I mean, unless like my survival instinct really took over. Like the one time when I was vegetarian for 2 years, and then Marcus, his parents left like a chicken. You know those chicken things you get at Safeway, or like the roasted
rotisserie
chickens,
chicken.
like the already ones, rotisserie chicken, and they all left the room. Survival instinct took over, and I ate that entire chicken with my bare hands. So maybe that would be the same with a dead person. I don't know if I'm really that hungry. Moving on. All right. Would you rather have dinner with Hannibal Lecter or have dinner with Norman Bates?
Norman Bates.
So
I
think so too.
I don't think I know Hannibal
Lecter is the cannibal guy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm not going to dinner with a cannibal. So no.
Yeah. Norman Bates is the guy who like is a peeping Tom who kills women in the shower.
Yeah, but maybe it wouldn't get that far. Maybe we just have dinner. So Norman Bates, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And then you would know for sure with Norman, it wouldn't be like the food wouldn't be made out of human that he already killed.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
Would you rather be chased by a killer clown or be chased by a werewolf?
I guess a werewolf.
Killer clown could be... I was thinking a killer clown could be slower, so I might be able to actually get away, but a werewolf's pretty quick. I'm probably dead on that one.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I think of the weaponry, and so I think a killer clown would have a knife, but then the werewolf would have teeth and four freaking things. So that's 5 weapons versus 1. So I go with killer clown.
And big clown feet, he's probably tripping. I'm running.
Yeah, that's true. Would you rather... Oh, so like in like, you know, like scary movies, would you rather be the first one to die or be the last person standing?
Final girl all the way. Final girl.
Yeah. I feel like we're all like the hot ones. So like in the movie, so we'd be the first to die because we're all so hot. But I want to be the first one to die because I don't want to be the last person standing and have that mental trauma of all my friends dying in front of me. I'd just give up.
It depends on where I'm at. This sounds really terrible. I'm not saying I hope that the people I've worked with die, but if I'm at like a work thing and all of them die, but I still have the people I love. No, I don't mean it like that though, but I just mean like, as long as like my...
No, keep going.
Okay, because if I was the last person standing, then I still have my family and my loved ones.
Sure.
But
no, it makes sense.
Yeah, but if it was like my whole family and everybody dies and I'm the last one, then what do I got to live for?
Yeah, that's all. You aren't going to your coworkers for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, last one. Would you rather have your arm chopped off or your leg chopped off?
Arm.
I feel like that's an easy one, right? Because you got to be able to run still, and then you want to be able to walk around. You could do a lot of things still with no arm.
Well, yeah, and you can get a prosthetic arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot.
I mean, you can get a prosthetic leg too, but
I think arm's
it'd be
the way to
harder.
go. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we hope we gave you guys some squirms, some Halloween spookiness. And then we're moving on to relationship questions, right, Amy?
Yep. All right. So the first one is, do you believe there is a difference between confidence and conceited? If so, what is your advice on balancing so you can stay confident without crossing over to being conceited?
Yeah, I feel like there definitely is a difference between confidence and being conceited. And I feel like confidence is just about loving yourself and just being unapologetically yourself. And I feel like conceited is kind of just like pushing that. I feel like on other people, like being like, oh, I'm so this, I'm so that. And I feel like confidence is just about being like secure within yourself. So I guess that's like what the difference is for me.
Sure. See, I feel like I might be on the line just because I don't know. Maybe I speak it into existence of like, oh, I'm gonna get this job, or oh, I'm so pretty, or look at my hot husband, or my life is so great. Or maybe it's a part of my personality. Maybe it's like part of my charm. I don't know, but I do think maybe I am on the line of that. It's possible. I may be, and I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I feel like I'd rather be maybe a little conceited than to think like hate myself, you know? So if you had to choose between the two, I don't know. Why care what other people think? You feel the way you want about you will find your tribe, however you want to show your confidence. I don't know. What do you think, Amy?
I think just like being proud of the things. I think a lot of times we don't want to talk about our successes because you feel like you're like boasting or being like whatever about it. And I think that if people are upset about you talking about your successes, then they must be insecure within themselves. And so I think that we should be able to all celebrate each other and be able to like be confident without it being taken as conceited, because maybe that's more of a like worrying about what other people think versus being confident or conceited. Does that make sense? I mean, everybody knows when someone is cocky and they're just like, okay, chill out. But I think the way this person is saying this question, I think it's more of a worried of like, I'm feeling really confident and excited about what I'm doing, but I don't want to come off as conceited.
Oh, okay.
That's just the way I'm taking it, though. So I just think just embrace what you're proud of. And if people are taking it the wrong way, then that's on them. That's not on you. You can be excited and be confident in who you are and what you're doing. So
I like that. That's way better than my answer. I didn't like mine. I resent it. I choose Amy. Another one we had. I'm starting to rekindle a childhood friendship. I feel like we're both on the same page in our lives now and would be able to be closer friends now more than ever. What is your advice on finding our new friendship boundaries and creating our own love language?
Okay. I think just having open communication and making each other feel valued, because if you've lost your friendship, then maybe there was a reason for that, or maybe it was just timing wise or whatever. So just making sure that you are really like vocal about what you want your friendship to look like, and just kind of enjoying it and realizing that adult friendships are different than childhood friendships, because we don't have as much time to just like put into friendships all the time. And so just being open to communication and realizing that there might not be as much time for it. So just take the time that you have and really value it.
New friendship boundaries is what stands out about me on that question of like how to create those. And I think probably if there was some type of falling out, And if there was a reasoning for that to be, I don't know, maybe one of those boundaries should be kind of in that category of just being like, okay, we stop being friends because, oh geez, what happens to childhood friendships? I don't know. Timing and friends is so huge. And like where you are in life and where they are in life, sometimes, especially with childhood and kind of the bumpy road of growing up into adulthood, you know, you get interested in new things. You change probably the most in your entire life, you know? And so just being open to also not expecting that person to be that same child that you were friends with before. You know, this is the adult version. That. This is essentially a completely different person. So just being open to that and just loving the person for who they are now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I feel like having open communication and setting new boundaries is so important when it comes to kind of reestablishing friendships from childhood. And I think just having them know that you're a different person, that you're grown, and like them respecting that, I feel like is so important. And just knowing that certain things that you could have done when you guys were younger just aren't going to fly, aren't going to like maneuver the same way. So I feel like that's what's really important as well.
Totally. Friendships are hard.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone just talks about relationships and partners. I'm just like, friendships are just, I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot more moving pieces with friendships. Relationship is just like, oh, you know, there's more of like a goal usually or something. With friends, it's just kind of like all over the place. No, I don't know. Maybe that's that's how I see it. Well, I've been with the same guy since I was 17, so maybe it's just more simple that way to me versus friendships have been a lot more complicated in my personal experience. So, and last one.
Hey guys, need some advice. I have noticed my life has been really busy lately, and I'm very grateful, but sometimes feel overwhelmed. Any tips on how to balance work, family, friends, and house chores? Well, first of all, if anybody knows the answer to this question, I'd love to know, because I think that's the hardest thing. Balance in life is so hard, and like not getting overwhelmed by so many things at once can just be so hard.
I haven't figured this one out either, but I mean, I think maybe what I focus on is making sure you take the time that makes you happy. Like make sure you do what makes you happy. So still, you know, people have to go to work. Some people are super passionate and love what they do. Some people, you know, just go to work for a specific reason and come back and they're content with that. But just making sure no matter what it is and what category, you are still taking the time to do what you love, I think is what I would do. And if there's anything toxic or draining in your life, get rid of it.
I would agree with that. Like, it's okay to say no to things. Like, I feel like that's something that I've been learning. Like, it's okay to say no. It's okay to reschedule. It's okay to take time. Those are all things that I really just have been really learning and focusing on, that it's like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to take time to just, you know, relax. Because I feel like so many times we're always like, oh, we have to do this, I have to do that. And it's like, no, it's okay to take some time to just relax. And another thing that's helped me is like not overbooking my schedule so much. Because like before I would make myself do all these things in the day. And it's like, I don't like, this could be done another day. So it's like just having less things to do during the day, I feel like makes me feel less overwhelmed. And also it makes me feel more accomplished when I actually get things done. So that helps too.
Yeah, and probably in the long run, if you just do certain things on certain days, like, and so that it prevents you from that burnout feeling, you'll eventually get more done by spreading it out than, you know, doing it all at once, for sure. No, I love that.
Yeah.
So that's the end of our relationship questions. I'm really excited because those are real ones, not Reddit ones. So thank you. And please keep sending in your relationship questions. We need them for every episode. So make sure you email us at stopwearingmyclothespodcast@gmail.com because we will answer them. We just did 3, so proof. Something we ask all of our guests, because we are really a relationship-based podcast, is asking what the best relationship advice that you've ever been given, Imani?
I guess the best relationship advice is just, you know, just be with someone that you can truly be yourself with, like that you can be vulnerable with, that you can be open with someone that you don't feel like you have to hide parts of you. Like, I feel like that's like just been the best advice I've been given, is just to be transparent when it comes to being in relationships. And like, that's how you know you found the person that you're supposed to be with, is when you can be completely open and honest with them, and you can be silly and you can be goofy and you can be all these things. I think that's like when you really know. But yeah.
Yeah. Just really laying out all your
I love that.
cards. And not tarot cards. That was a little play on words. So that is the end of today's episode of Imani. I am really excited for this one to come out. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And again, I want to remind you about how amazing our guest is and how she does this. Like, she has a business that she goes and does this for people. And so if you want to get a reading, a tarot card, also reading, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, all the readings, all sorts of them. Imani's your gal. So her website is rayoncollective.com. Her Instagram is Imani Ray and Rayon Collective. I'll also put it underneath on all the descriptions when we blast this out to everybody. Is there any other call outs? Do you have any upcoming events or other socials you want people to follow?
I think that's about it. I've been doing a lot of more like in-person events as well, so I list that on my Instagram. So if anyone ever
perfect.
wants to come on there. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much. And who knows? Maybe we'll see her again. I'm excited. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that episode. We had so much fun with Imani. And if you guys want to get your birth chart read or tarot reading, we highly recommend her, Rayon Collective on Instagram, or Imani Ray. Call her right now, text her, schedule that appointment, and then email us and tell us about your experience, because we loved it and we want to hear about it.
Yes, 100% agree. And make sure you leave her review and all that good stuff. And then, speaking of reviews, let's also do a review on Apple Podcasts, please. We've been stuck at 39 reviews for a month. Help us hit 40.
Yeah, help us hit 50. I'm
there you
putting
go.
the bar a little. Boop.
I keep meaning to do a giveaway and for specifically trying to get Apple reviews. I will get that together one of these days.
Well, no, I'm saying it now. If we get to 50, we will do a giveaway. So anybody who has not done it and is listening to this right now, give us a review. We're going to come up with a really fun giveaway, and you guys will not regret it.
Agreed. All right. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and TikTok. And we will be back for the Michelle premiere on Thursday, or the premiere's Tuesday. Well, our recap will come out Thursday. And then we're doing every other Monday now, so we won't have a new episode next Monday, but we will have a relationship advice episode the Monday after. Mm-hmm. So send in your questions, or if there's anything specifically you wanted us to talk about. We kind of just, I've never said this phrase, but shoot the shit a little bit on those ones, so we can really make the episode however you want it.
So email us at stopwearingmyclothes@gmail.com, and have a wonderful, fabulous week.
And happy Halloween!